Hi there, welcome to the Player YouTube channel, where we don't just do car reviews, we do tons of other stuff as well. You ready? Run the VT. This is how a car should sound. Listen to this.
I didn't really push it either. I was just having a bit of fun.
Oh really?
I think it makes a good work.
We're going, mate. Nice to see you.
Show us your big chopper, your helicopter. So here we are, the Morgan Roadster. Guys, guess what? It's another morning here out in sunny France. Hi guys, welcome to the Player Mansion, one of many properties in my portfolio here in the UK. Excuse me, over here, please. That's good, that's better. Guess what? It's my birthday. Can you believe that? Yes, and it's come round so quickly this year. And guess what? Oh, I've got something to show you. I've been sent a present by Ferrari, like they do every year, except this year, it's not the keyring. It's the actual car. Check it out. They have sent me a brand new Ferrari Roma. Can you believe that? A £200,000 plus supercar. And it's all mine. I can't believe it. For the weekend. But that's not so bad, is it? At least it's here for the weekend. That means I get an opportunity to take you out in it, show you around it and tell you all about it. And then you can experience exactly what it's like with me. So let's go and do it. I can't wait. I'll catch you in a minute. So the first thing you will really appreciate if you ever get to drive one of these cars or have a test drive in one or, you know, just borrow one, or it's just the pure build quality of it. You can sit here in the comfort and, you know, the safety and knowing that you've got the power under your foot if you want it. It's a fun car, it's a sedate car. It's just a real car, and it's just sad to me that in, you know, not many years from now, this car will probably be sitting in a museum, or it'll become a collector's piece, or, you know, it'll be bid on at classic cars, and it'll just be thrown in a, you know, somewhere in an air-conditioned room and things like that. Whereas this car needs to be driven. It's just a driver's car. It's a GT through and through, and you're never going to fail it for that ever. I'm going to keep it nice and slow so I can explain bits and pieces for you and tell you a little bit about the car itself. So the name Roma comes from an Italian goddess. Oh yes, why would you not name your car after an Italian goddess? Obviously it's connected with the capital city of Italy, which is Rome. And Roma was a goddess that she, as long as you respected her and obeyed her, you would be protected. This is going back in the day. And I think what a great name to have for a car that pretty much will protect it. Well, you know, you protect it and look after it, and it will look after you. There you go. I mean, it just doesn't get much better, does it? The car was actually launched in 2019, and in honour of its Roman heritage, shall we say, it was actually christened in Rome. And again, I think that's a lovely thing to do to a car. In 2020, the very first cars started rolling off the production line. Now the cars were very much aimed, this car is aimed at your sort of first time Ferrari owner. And I think it's the type of car that you can be used on it's a versatile day-to-day touring, GT touring car. But it's starting to hit the Porsche 911 market and the Aston Martin ownership market. And I think that sort of is ideally, it's personifying where Ferrari want to go with the Roma. This car has won awards. In 2020 it won an award for its design. Again, it got a Red Dot award for its design in 2020. In 2021 it won Best design, best production car design in the world. I think this car is going to go on for decades with people looking at it going, that was an iconic Ferrari, because that's exactly what this Ferrari is. It's iconic. I've got to say, and I think you'll agree, this car is absolutely stunning to look at. Let's take a good look round it. I'll point out a few of the major bits and pieces that Ferrari have put into this car, because it really is something to behold. You've got a little button on the door there. There's no actual door handle. You just push the button. Love that. You step out of the car here. Let me just start to show you around. Start at the front here with this beautiful nose on the car. These LED lights, this massive, great air intake down here. You've got a big radar sensor here as well, which controls all the bits and pieces inside the car. But it's just the actual sort of the smooth flowing shapes of this car that really impressed me. At the front here, you've got 20-inch alloys, absolutely massive. They're beautiful on this car. You've got those huge red calipers, and if you look inside there, there's a 390mm disc brake. Look at the size of that disc in there. Ow! It's a bit hot as well, even though it is ventilated, I can feel it. You've got your prancing horse badge on the side, you've got this lovely side skirts down here. And what do you think of this pearlescent white? Because originally when I saw the paperwork before it arrived, I was thinking, pearlescent white, it's just not. And then now look at it, I mean, it is just a beautiful colour. On the back here, again, 20-inch rims, you've got another red caliper in there, and you've got 360mm discs on the back. And then what I call the pièce de la résistance, as they say, these big 4 exhausts at the back here, and trust me, they are very, very real. It just finishes the whole car off, and these lovely sort of LED split lights here, and just the shape of the boot, it is so GT, it is beautiful. Right, enough of the outside, let's go and check at the business end and see how many prancing horses are under that bonnet. Here we are under the Roma bonnet. You get a full fat Ferrari V8. Check it out, isn't that beautiful? It's absolutely stunning the way it sits in there as well. So 3.9 litre V8. It's got twin turbos, and it develops around about 612 brake horsepower. It's got 760 Newton meters of torque. This engine will pull the hind legs off of Dominic the Italian Christmas donkey. It's so powerful. It's all kept under control with an 8-speed DCT auto gearbox. It will give you 0 to 60 times of 3.1 seconds. It will give you a top speed limited, wait for it, limited to 320 kilometers an hour. In old money, that's 199 miles an hour. Basically, all you've got to do is fart and you'll go over 200. Trust me. Standing quarter, 11 seconds. This is an absolute beast. Right, so believe it or not, the Ferrari Roma actually has a decent sized boot on it. The boot release catch is just here underneath your little prancing horse there. You have to lift it yourself. I mean, it's not exactly heavy, is it? But you get 272 litres with the seats up, you know, those rear seats. Or if the rear seats are down, it's 345 litres, which, as you can see, you can jam pack it with at least a dozen bottles of champagne. I've got some holdalls in here, weekend bags, and I've got my trusted bear Ben from the motor industry charity. Look him up if you're interested. He's going to come with me in the car later. I'm not going to leave him in the boot. I'd never do that. Oh, and yeah, all right, cameraman, the banks are closed on the weekends, so don't worry about that. So there you go, decent sized boot as well. Come on, Ben, let's go. Here we are, up front in the Roma. Absolutely lovely space to be, and it's so comfortable. These seats are incredibly well bolstered. They're designed for hours and hours of driving, because at the end of the day, you know, guys, this is a GT through and through. To fire up everything, basically, you've got a little haptic button there that says engine start and stop. You can't miss it, so just put your finger on there, and that 16-inch digital cluster fires into action. Incredible. It's warning me at the moment because I've put all the different bits on that the battery might get a little bit run down, but we'll be fine for a few minutes while I just show you these bits and pieces. So 16-inch screen, you can adapt this screen exactly how you like it. Typical Ferrari style. In the centre there, you've got your rev counter. Basically, that's all you need when you drive one of these. No one's worried about a speeding ticket. You can afford one of them if you've got one of these. But you can change the colours on that if you want, and there's a number of different colours, different setups on the actual setup of that screen. You've got a little home bit over here. I'm going to explain that in a second. First of all, I want to get into the wheel, the steering wheel itself. You'll notice when I fired it up, you had LEDs shot up and down there. When you're out on track, that's your rev limiter that will come up, and it will show you in different colours exactly when you should be changing gear. And obviously you're going to be in manual, and you're going to be using these beautiful carbon fibre paddles behind here. And by watching that, you don't need to watch your rev meter. You can literally keep your eyes on the road, click up and down. You've got that in your peripheral vision, which is pretty much what a racing car does. Moving down the steering wheel, you've got leather either side, carbon fibre, flat bottom on this wheel as well. Very, very racy, really lovely to feel, lovely width on the wheel as well. But the leather either side means you don't need to wear gloves. You don't need leatherback driving gloves for that little bit of extra purchase power. All you need is your bare hands to get hold of this car. Indicators, there's no stalks for indicators, wipers or full beam, dip beam. In a conventional car, you'd expect them all around here. It just adds clutter. That's what I love about this car. There's no clutter. So top right, top left are your indicators. You just tap one of them and the indicator will come on. Again, wipers down here, control just behind is the actual ticky, and there it goes. It moves straight away. It shows you where they are, and you can choose which wiper setting you want, or you just stick them into the rain sensing and they'll do it all themselves. To the left-hand side is your full beam and auto beam setting and your auto light setting. Again, if you need to flash your lights to thank someone or get someone out of the way, so I was going to say thank someone for letting them through, but basically you're going to be flashing them, move out of the way. Just flash them down there. Obviously, it's pointing out where the lights are. This is not confusing. A lot of people have said, a lot of reviewers have got in and said, oh, it's all too confusing, man. I mean, get out of it. Look, if you at least know how to use a laptop or even a mobile phone, you're going to know how to use these bits and pieces. It's not that difficult. Got a home button here. As soon as you press that, you then get the choices come up on the right hand side. This is like a little mouse pad. You can just scroll up and down, scroll left and right through that screen, and again, that's where you can check in and change. So you could have your nav that side, and you can have your radio over that side, so you've got your tunes on. You can see all that going on over here. Additionally, if you need to set up any of the lighting, I meant to mention this, or the mirrors, there's a little touch sensitive pad over here to the right, and that's where you can settle your lighting up as well if you want to. I personally just left it in the auto. I love it though. It's just so simple and easy to use. All you need down here is got your fuel, and it's got your miles that you've done and the miles to go. What more do you want out of a car? That's what I love. 8.5-inch TFT touchscreen in the centre. Now, these seats are fully electronically adjustable. They're absolutely superb. However, if you want extra bits and pieces on the seats, you can actually go into seat adjustments and actually start setting up the seat even more. You can put in the lumbar adjustment, because this car, at the end of the day, being a GT, you're going to be doing 3, maybe 4, even plus hours driving before you have a break. You need to get the seat in a good position, somewhere it's going to be extra comfortable, and that's allowing you to do that. And obviously there's heated seats as well, which is simply second to none. I've got mine on at the moment. Speaking of heating, you've got your full aircon on here as well. Separate his and hers, his and his, whatever. Very easy to use. Again, up and down sliders. However, imagine if you've got wet hands or you've got cold hands, you've got gloves on, you're going to have to take your gloves off, or you're going to have to dry your hands before you start messing around with your screen, because it's just going to, either it's not going to work or it's going to get all messed up. That's my only sort of thing with that. You can go straight into your tunes. You've got your phone set up in here as well. I've got my phone on. Very simple to use, typical, and then you've got your settings button here as well. You just go in there and you can do all your settings on your heating controls and your front and rear screen controls. Love it. A little button I forgot to mention, probably the most important button, apart from the gearbox button, the launch control button, which we'll talk about in a minute, is your mode button on the steering wheel there. Now, Ferrari have done away with the names on there. They've just given it colours. And as you scroll through here, it will come up on your cluster and it will give you a verbal, not verbal, but an audible warning. So I've gone into sport, and then I'm going into race mode. Race mode, obviously, it's going to give you the full benefit of that engine, as little track resistance or little road resistance as possible, very light on the steering, and imagine it's all going to be there ready to get you out on track. And then obviously you've got to be able to turn you want to turn off your stability controls. If you do that, you have to turn it once again to the right and hold it for a few seconds, and then it will give you a proper audible warning, because now you've got no traction control on, and you've got all of that 600 odd horsepower at the bottom of your foot. So, it's warning you, are you sure about this? Do you really want to do this? And if you are and you're out on track, then you're going to have an absolute ball with this. I'm just going to go back. Comfort is what I normally keep it in. Yes, I drive around in my Ferrari and keep it in comfort. There isn't an eco mode, guys. No, if you're thinking about economy, we'll talk about that in a minute when I get it out on the road. But It's not bad actually. And then finally, if you want ultimate traction, in other words, you want ultimate surety when you're out on the road, there's a wet mode, which will, in any slippery condition, doesn't have to be wet, but snowy, you know, anything where you need that extra grip, stick it into the wet mode and you get a lot more, you know, grip out of the car. And obviously it's a little bit slower through the revs and things like that, so you don't wheel spin up. But comfortable mode or comfort mode, that's what I like to keep it in, and it will it'll inform you of everything you're doing. I love the way it all comes up there, the animated little thing, it mimics this as well. It's just lovely. So we've done the screen over there. The next most important part, which is set within this absolutely stunning bit of, well, it's almost architecture, isn't it? Isn't it beautiful? Alcantara clad, look at that, it's lovely. You've got carbon fibre in the centre here, which surrounds your gear selectors. Either side here, very, very Italian, are your window buttons up and down on the window. I like that. I really do like that. I think it's kind of cute. Most European cars, you know what I'm talking about, they're over here on the door. This doesn't even have the door handles either, so it just doesn't need window handles either. They're in the middle here. There you go. So to your left is your reverse gear. That's a separate selector there. It's obviously being an 8-speed auto gearbox, you're not going to have, you know, it's all going to be selected rather than you have to do anything. Then you've got manual and auto mode. So you can either stick it in the manual mode by pulling it down one, and then it will light up M, and then you can go straight into your paddles and use your paddles, or stick it in the auto, which is again what I normally do, because this car really does just sort itself out really nicely, and let it drive itself, which is, you know, at the end of the day, on an everyday basis, that's what's really good about this car. And then finally you've got your little L button there, and we all know what that is. Launch control, yes, but we're not going to be doing that for a bit. Not yet, anyway. I'll just finish off telling you about these lovely other bits and pieces, because you've got to admire this car for its quality and its build and the design around it. So in here, little glove box, not that big, big enough for a pack of tissues and probably a couple of mobile phones. It's 12-volt adapter in there, and there's also a USB in there. With this car, you do get, yes you do, you get an you get a wireless charger for your phone. It's down here, you can see it through there. You just plop your phone on there. This car comes with wireless Apple Play, and it also comes with Android mirroring as well. It's all wireless, it all connects up very, very easily. I mean, you know how to do that, I don't need to explain that. Now let's have a look what it's like for the passenger, because they, you know, Ferrari really do take care of the passenger. I like this, I think it's really cool. Looking across, you get a decent sized glove box over there. No owner's manual. Why do you need an owner's manual? If anything goes wrong with this car, you make a phone call and a lovely little man will come out and sort it out for you. Completely free of charge, I might add. Roma over there, little badge on there on your Alcantara finish. It's just beautiful. Look at the way it curves around there with your air vents and everything. It's just class, style, I love it. And then you've got your own separate screen here for your passenger. And the passenger can actually set up their own tunes, they can do their own heating, they can view the statistics of the car while you're driving along, or they can just simply turn it off and have nothing there. But I quite like having it on, it's touch sensitive again. You've got your own settings on there, your audio, there you go, it's all there. So in the eventuality you are doing a long distance journey, you don't want to chat to your passenger, they can play away over there to their heart's content, which I think is just really cool. But at the end of the day, you know, you're sitting here in an absolutely stunning position. That's the last thing to tell you is it's got a lovely steering column adjustment, all electronic. Look at that, it's just simple. You get it in the perfect driving position, whether it's popping down the shops or whether you're driving down to Monaco for the weekend. You get my drift. Now, what we need to do, I need to stop waffling. You've seen in here, you've seen how good it is. We need to get it out on the road. But the producer says I'm to do minimal talking because you guys want to do maximum watching. So we're going to play some rather apt music, and occasionally I'll chirp in with a little bit of information. Let's get on with it. If you ask anyone at Ferrari what they think of the Ferrari Roma, you'll get an instant reply. Ferrari Roma è la Nuova Dolce Vita. And translated, that means this is new sweet life. What they mean by that is this car harks back to the carefree pleasures of driving in the 50s and the 60s. Even the design of the Roma has visual echoes of 1950 and 60s Ferrari GT cars. There's no harsh body angles. There's no wind tunnel designed rear diffuser. There's no fussiness about this car. This is pure elegance on wheels with beautiful long uninterrupted lines that flow effortlessly from front to rear. Then there's the sound, that utterly unmistakable burble of a Ferrari V8. Let's face it, you really don't need to push this car hard to get those gorgeous four pipes at the back singing like an Italian tenor. Ferrari founder Enzo famously was not a fan of the mid-engined layout. He preferred his horses up front, if you get my drift. However, Maranello has long since established themselves as masters of the mid-engine performance car, and the Roma is absolute testament to this. The Roma sits neatly between the Portofino and the F8 Tributo, another two utterly superb Ferrari super performance cars. The Roma is undeniably an easy car to live with on a day-to-day basis. It's comfortable, it's practical, reliable, but above all, it's pure and utter enjoyment. For me, this is every little boy's dream of driving the ultimate supercar, and it's worth every single penny. So there you have it, guys, the Ferrari Roma, my birthday present. However, here in the UK, it's just started to rain, so I'm getting out of here. I'm heading down to the south of France to spend the weekend on the Côte d'Azur. Of course I am. It's a GT, no less. It wouldn't be fit for anything else. Going to get down there, spend the weekend with the girls and a few glasses of champers, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, in the meantime, I need to get my trusted housekeeper Higgins to lock up player mansion, as we say. Higgy, there's a good chap, if you wouldn't mind locking up and putting on the alarms for me. On that note, guys, I'll catch you next week with something hopefully equally as exciting and lovely as the Ferrari Roma. And Higgy, take care. See you later.
Who's that?